What's going on, guys? Welcome back to More Fab. So sorry that this video is posting a little bit late, but we had a change of plans, which always happens with this shop. We had planned this week to work on nothing but the Prelude because we had nothing scheduled for this week. So we were actually going to bang the Prelude out and get that done. That unfortunately changed. We had a couple of emergency jobs that came in. We had one Mercedes S500 that I have sitting outside right now that got towed in and was stuck in park, and we had to deal with that. And then we had a couple other emergency customers come through that we had to take care of on the maintenance side of things. So the Prelude is actually going to happen this weekend. I promise you, we are going to do it this weekend. Get it done, get it back to the customer, and get everything good to go. So you guys will see that video coming soon. Now, it is currently Thursday afternoon, and our change of plans came about also about a week ago when my BMW decided to spit all of its timing chain guides everywhere. So with that car pretty much down, my only other vehicle is my bike and this Jeep that you guys are sitting on top of right now. So the plan is that tonight we have some free time. We don't have enough time to do the Prelude, but we do have enough time to get this Jeep torn apart, get all of the new parts on and welded in, and we've got the hood, the radiator, and the condenser coming tomorrow from one of our favorite junkyards, and we'll be able to put that together. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys along. We're going to pull off all of the damaged stuff. We're going to drill out all the spot welds. We're going to start putting in all of the new equipment that goes in its place. We've got the lower radiator support, upper radiator support, the grill, the headlight buckets, the headlights, the left front fender. We've got a bunch of stuff we're going to do. So I'm going to set the GoPro up. I'm going to time lapse all of this stuff. If I see anything that's super important that you guys need to know about this, I'll let you know. I'll bring you back in and whatever. But just to give you a brief history on this truck before we start. This vehicle has 212,000 miles on it now. My cousin owned this vehicle originally about 4 years ago. She bought it as her winter beater. The head gasket went, so she got rid of it. I bought it. I bought the truck for $1,000. I put a head gasket in it. I put an oil pump in it, and I sold it to a customer of mine for $3,800. Now, that customer of mine, shortly after they bought the vehicle, they blew the transmission in it, so I got him a nice low mileage used transmission with only 30,000 miles on it, and we put that in. Shortly after doing the transmission, they blew the engine. They overheated it, sent a rod through the block, so we ended up putting a low mileage engine in this thing. So all in all, the entire drivetrain in this vehicle only has about 60,000 miles on it. So we got a smoking deal. And the reason we got the smoking deal was because 6 months after I put the engine in the truck, her husband was driving the vehicle, didn't see a vehicle stopped at a light, rear-ended it. It happened to be an F-150 with a trailer hitch, thus causing all the damage you've seen in previous videos. So before I get started, we'll go over all of the actual damage of the vehicle, and I'll take you guys along to show you what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and then we'll time-lapse all of the rest of it. So here we go. Alright guys, so here's a damage analysis. This is basically where it took the hit, was right there. Now what that did is it obviously screwed the bumper support. That's completely gone. This piece here, which holds the grille and the headlights and everything else, that's completely gone. The driver's side headlight, destroyed. This section of the driver's side is also destroyed. That's going to need to be pulled out a little bit. The fender, driver's side fender's done. Condenser, radiator, the bumper obviously, and a few other odds and ends. I think we got lucky though in the fact that the radiator shroud and the electric fan are okay, so that's going to be something. And then of course the hood took a pretty good hit too. So we're going to be replacing this lower radiator support, which you can tell is porked right there, this bumper support, the upper radiator support, both headlights, the buckets, which are the entire grill, the front bumper, and everything that goes along with it. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take all of this stuff apart. Now this, I'm actually going to take the radiator and the condenser out first. Then we're going to cut this with a Sawzall, get it out of the way. Then we can drill out the spot welds in there. We can drill out the spot welds in there. That'll come off. Then for the lower radiator support, which is this guy that runs right up here, we're going to drill out these spot welds. There's some spot welds over here on this side. Same thing on the other side. and we will get all that out, and then that'll pretty much be everything we need to take out of this before we put everything back in it. So we're gonna get on it now. I'll time lapse it. Enjoy.
Like glue, the leather stuck on me. I wanna move. And do. Yeah, they all want a piece of me. Everyone in the crowd wanna feel it, they wanna be me.
Alright guys, so as you saw in the time lapse, we got a excuse me, we got a good majority of it apart. Now, one thing that I was ultra concerned about that I'm no longer concerned about was this rail right here. And it being tweaked in some way, shape, or form, but it is not. It is absolutely supposed to look just like that. So we are perfect when it comes to the actual fender mounting, which means that this is in the spot that it's supposed to be in. Now down here, this is bent, and this whole section is pushed back just a hair, so we're gonna have to pull that back out, but that's not a big deal. And then what I'm gonna do is, now that we've got everything apart, you can kind of see that the whole front end is apart. We have to make sure that the measurement from here to here matches factory spec to make sure that either one of these front frame horns didn't get pulled in when it was in the accident. So we're gonna make sure that measurement, then we're gonna finish cutting off the rest of the bumper support, and we're gonna get this mount lower radiator support out, but that's going to require a whole shit ton of drilling spot welds. So I'm going to go take a break, and I will be back shortly. So a little bit of bad news. If you look here, I cut the radiator, the upper or lower radiator support. You can see just how far this frame horn was actually pushed in that way. Now, we have to push that back. It was literally off almost 1.5 inches. So right now, we have the porta power pushing these two frame rails apart. I left that all intact so that it would strengthen this side and this side won't move. This is not the right way to do this, but this is if you're doing this in your garage and you're going for results for yourself. I wouldn't recommend you doing this for anybody else's vehicle, but because this is my vehicle, I will do it this way. Technically, you're supposed to put it on a frame machine, but I did manage to find all of the frame specs on the internet, so I can set this to exactly what it's supposed to be side to side and make sure that at least that's okay. Now, as far as everything else goes, I'm not a body shop, I can't do that. But as long as we get that back in place, and we get that back in the right place, and we measure from a center line over that way and a center line over that way, then we'll be pretty much close enough to where everything's going to fit and go back together. So right now I have this pushed about 1/2 inch to 1 inch further than it needs to go, and I'm going to let it sit for a couple minutes just to let the metal kind of expand a little bit, and then we'll suck it back down and see how everything fits. So somehow we managed to get the whole front end straightened out and within factory spec from center to the right and center to the left. I don't know how, and I'm not going to question it, but with just a simple porta power, this thing is now in factory spec. That's not to say that this leg isn't dropped a little bit or it's a little bit further over than this one, but from a center line of the vehicle, we literally have perfect left to right. So we're doing pretty good. And if you notice, we got the full center support out. We got the actual lower radiator support out. And now it's time to try to fit the new radiator support to make sure that that point there and that point there where the radiator support sits is actually in line too. We may have to push that out, judging by the fact that this horn was almost 2.5 inches pulled in this way. So it may have pulled all of this in, but I measured it quick. It looks like it'll fit, so let's see what happens. Alright guys, there she is, looking pretty good. We got lower bumper support on, lower radiator support goes all the way up and is tacked in on both sides. We got this whole section right here straightened back out, pulled forward, so that actually lines up where it's supposed to. We got this whole side completely straightened back out again. Luckily this section here wasn't too far in like the bottom section here was. So we got lucky we didn't have to push that out. So we're good there. This side, same thing. It's all in there. It's all tacked in. Now, it's not the prettiest thing in the world. And just remind yourselves that this is going to be my winter beater. I am not selling this. This is not going to a customer. This is not something you want to do with a customer's vehicle. This particular vehicle would have been completely and utterly totaled. This would not have made it past an insurance company inspection. So no, I'm not going to sell it. This is going to be my personal shop truck. So that's why we're doing this way. But so far it's coming out so good. But you can see certain things like right there. That frame horn is so messed up. It would take me forever in a frame machine to straighten that out. So I didn't even bother. And that's some of the stuff that, you know, whatever. But now the next thing we have to do is we actually have to find the panel that bridges this gap right here, because some stuff mounts to it. So I have to find that panel. I didn't know I needed that, but now I know I need that, so now I have to find it, because I need to tie in the inner fender wells, the tops of the frame horns, this whole section here, and then that other fender well, so we gotta find that somewhere. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna end it there. That's part one of the Jeep. We've got the hood, the condenser, and the radiator coming tomorrow. Now that everything's straightened back out, the radiator should fit just fine. That's why you guys saw me cut it in half, because I couldn't get it out of there, which kind of led me to believe that the frame horns were, you know, pulled in a little bit, and they were. But we used the porta power, we pushed everything out. Not the correct way to do it per se, but it worked, and everything is within factory spec, so we're good in that aspect. So Again, sorry for the late video. This is probably going to go up Friday at noon instead of Thursday at noon, but change of plans. Everything always changes here. We get crazy, we don't get crazy, we're busy, we're not busy, yada, yada, yada. But anywho, hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh yeah, and by the way, hit subscribe. We're up over 8,000. This is so awesome. We're over 8,000 and we're climbing daily, which is super cool. Make sure you click the little bell icon and you'll get notified when I post new videos. So, all right, everybody, I swear this time, have a good night.